Welcome to the Frontline Herbalism podcast with your host Nicole Rose from the Solidarity Apothecary. This is your place for all things plants and liberation. Let's get started. Hello, welcome back to the Frontline Herbalism podcast. I'm in the fucking car park again, aren't I? Recording this podcast is just how it's worked out this week. But yeah, I hope wherever you are in the world where you're listening, things are as quote unquote safe as can be. Fucking hell, man, it's all kicking off, isn't it? Like, I've been working so much in the evenings, I haven't had much time to check the news or go on Instagram or whatever. And yeah, but just, you know, everything in Iran and Rojava and Syria and yeah, all the places. Yeah, I am, just thinking of everyone. And yeah, if I can do anything, like share things on my networks or this podcast or anything, like please hit me up. Yeah. Okay, so this episode, I'm just going to do, as promised, like a rundown of Solidarity Apothecary offerings. I was hoping to do this like earlier in the month, but yeah, it's been a little bit fucking back to back. I launched the applications for the Rooted in Struggle program and have just been like, so there's been like 80 applications and the application form's like quite detailed. So every night I've just been like reading them and just kind of like, yeah, trying to make a bit of a short list, but it's really hard because the demand is like so huge. And yeah, pretty much everyone, like give or take, like a lot of people meet the criteria. So it's like, yeah, and I've been supporting people with the Black Flag Herbal Clinic, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And that's been fucking awesome. And trying to set up systems for that, for, you know, how to work with other herbalists and students. And then I've been seeing like, you know, my paying like one-to-one clients as well, which I've really fucking enjoyed. Yeah, and then just being a single mom with a toddler, so it's just been like lots of work, but fucking love it. Like, got 4 planets in Capricorn. January is like fucking good month for me. Everyone else is like, oh, I hate January, and I'm just like, let's fucking go. So anyway, I'm just gonna do a little overview of my offerings and the Solidarity Apothecary offerings this year. And then, yeah, in future episodes, I need to fucking organise these interviews. I keep saying it, but I need to make it happen. Okay, anyway, let's dive in. So I've put a link in the show notes to the blog post where you can read this. This is going to be a bit longer than the blog post of me just like ad-libbing here and there. But yeah, if you don't know, the mission of the Solidarity Apothecary is to materially support revolutionary struggles and communities with plant medicines to strengthen collective autonomy, self-defense and resilience to climate change, capitalism and state violence. Okay, so first category, herbal solidarity. So one-to-one herbal support. So after having a bit of a break with having my baby, and not that it's a fucking break, but you know what I mean, being on maternity leave and unfortunately being really sick through my pregnancy, I'm now able to like actually take on new people. Like I've been supporting a lot of people one-to-one who were sort of people I was already supporting, but I've like opened my doors officially. So this is a sliding scale clinic where you can access in-depth personalized herbal support and medicines are sent to you in the post. So I've got like a separate clinic website, which I can link to. Yeah, I'll do another podcast episode soon all about that. But there's basically like 3 different packages. There's like a kind of pay-as-you-go package and then the other 2 are like 5-month packages. And I think that's really important if someone wants like an actual transformation in their health. Then we often need like time to implement changes and time for herbs to work, for tissues to heal, you know, to cultivate different nervous system states. Like, and I don't want someone to just access a small thing because that's all they can afford, but actually it's just ineffective. Like I'd much rather like hold it down of like, no, I think this amount of time from my experience is like life fucking changing. So yeah, I've unfortunately only got space for like 2 people a week. But yeah, if you go on the clinic website, you can read all about how that works. And yeah, it's just a fucking honor. Like, I just love it so much. Like, I love geeking out about people's health. I love, you know, proposing different herbs and working with someone and building that relationship. And yeah, it's just, it's why I did my clinical training. Like, I've been in the fucking maze of chronic illness, and it's so hard to get out of on your own when you have such limited energy. So it's a real fucking privilege being able to support people. So the other one-to-one clinical work I'm doing is, you may have seen on the old Instagram, but I announced this Black Flag Herbal Clinic. So this is a explicitly anarchist free clinic, and it's designed to support anarchist comrades, people that are organizing for liberation in different ways. And I was doing this work for a long time under the Solidarity Apothecary, and like a lot of people I was supporting, were accessing support for free because of experiencing state violence or different forms of marginalization. But this clinic, I have explicitly created a separate thing because I want it to become its own project, like beyond the banner of the Solidarity Apothecary, and want to make it a collective thing that is like distinct and separate and autonomous, and where I'm organizing with other people, whether they're herbal students or other herbalists or people helping with admin and stuff. Like, the security level stuff's like quite high, so I've had to say to people, like, it will take time to build that trust. And obviously, as I've got my little one and everything, like, things are just fucking small and slow for me in general. But I've had my first couple of people, 2 or 3 consultations now, and no, 4. And it's just been like a fucking honor to support people. And yeah, I'm fucking stoked to see where it can go. And yeah, it just means a lot to me that, I think just like literally having that black flag, like that line in the sand of just like, no, this is for fucking anarchists, and we're going to try and run this in like an anarchist way and create health infrastructure, because like, again, the demand is so fucking huge of like who can fucking access a herbalist and who can't. So yeah, I'll put the link to that in the show notes too. And yeah, if you're a student and you want to, get like clinical hours, and you want to, observe one-to-one calls or take them yourself with support and guidance, like that's what it's set up for. But I did a little like intro video for people interested in getting involved in the clinic, and like I just want to say, for anyone seeking support, like student presence is like completely fucking optional. Like, you don't have to have anyone else there. Like, it can just be me and you, completely anonymously, or if you feel comfortable with other people kind of observing with their cameras off and stuff, that's fucking rad. But yeah, like, it's not a student clinic, like it is a anarchist free clinic for anarchist comrades, and if they're comfortable with students being present, then that's fucking awesome. But yeah, their needs come first. So yeah, I'm fucking enjoying that. And it's it's just one of those things where I can only see a couple of people a week under that kind of banner, but hopefully with like more like relationships with other herbalists, we can like build that kind of container of support for folks. And like, as my little one gets bigger, like I'll have more sort of time and space for consultations and stuff. Okay, so the next thing is herbal care packages. So these are like always a big part of my work. So these care packages are for free, and they go out to people who fill in a little request form. So they go to people experiencing repression, so defendants, people with like ongoing kind of legal cases, prisoner family members, or people that have a loved one in prison, grassroots groups of different kinds, whether that's Earth First or, like a housing, super grassroots militant housing union, like might request support, or Hunt Sabs, for example, and also people living at like sites of resistance in different ways. Like, those are the different packs I have. So I'll put the link, well, you'll see all these links from the offerings post, but yeah, they're still available to request. I've got an amazing friend here at the moment who I'm paying to just like make shitloads of medicine in the herb shed, because I just fucking fly through it, man. Like, I need to get my fundraising ass in gear, because there's just endless requests. And yeah, most packs contain like an immune tonic and a nervous system blend and a tea blend and maybe some lavender oil with olive oil from Palestine. And yeah, so check that out if you're interested. Okay, and the next thing, which I guess is like the newest piece other than Black Flag, are group programs. So last year I had this Hawthorne program, which was like kind of an experiment, and it was, it was fucking great. Like, I learned from it. There was definitely things I could have improved, but that model where there's like collective care, so basically it's structured as there's group calls like every other week, and there's a Signal group for like mutual care and support, and then there's like pre-recorded content like links to videos and things that I've created, and then I also, so there's like that collective element, and then there's also, you still get the one-to-one support, and I was thinking for ages about, just offering more generic herbal things, but it just didn't sit right with me because like everyone's health is so different, and people have like quite complex health needs, especially if they're like deep in burnout with a lot of chronic illness. So you get like a one-to-one call with me, and I, like with any other client, put together comprehensive herbal recommendations for you. We work together on those. Once you're happy with them, I get everything in the post. So these are like 3-month programs. So the first one starting like soon. I'm still like a week or so behind on the process because I was not expecting like so many fucking applications, and that's amazing, and it just highlights to me why it's important. But it's called Rooted in Struggle, so the applications have closed now, but it's basically for grassroots organizers, anarchists, people involved in different like community care things who are experiencing burnout, long-term stress, exhaustion, heartbreak, grief, and it's just kind of similar to the Hawthorne of the Hawthorne program of like, group calls, medicine, one-to-one support, Signal chat, pre-recorded content. Yeah. So I'm hoping that, I'll finish working through people's applications hopefully this morning, and then be able to confirm like who's in the group, and then hopefully get started soon. So in April, I'm doing a similar group program, but this is for people who have a loved one in prison. So it's called the Rose program. So this is for folks, maybe it's like a close friend, maybe it's a comrade, maybe it's your mom or your brother. Like it's just for anyone who is affected by incarceration because they have a loved one inside. That's April to June. And then in September, I'm going to do Hawthorne again. So people experiencing state repression because of their work towards liberation. And then in November, the plan is to do one explicitly for former prisoners, like a healing from incarceration container. So I haven't made the kind of information page for that yet, but I'm just putting in a little bit more sort of design thinking around it of like how to make that a supportive space for people who, are experiencing like particular kind of, it's kind of like a different PTSD, I think, people leaving prison, because it's so chronic and the levels of trauma are like so fucking high that it's just, I just need to do a bit of thinking around it, and maybe like support for myself, like co-facilitating it with someone maybe, so that I'm not like triggered by everyone else's triggers, if that makes sense, as someone, I did 2 years inside. So anyway, but I'm super excited about these group programs. I think it's going to be a long-term pattern in the apothecary of holding that space for folks, doing it collectively. Like it just feels right. Do you know what I mean? So okay, and then we've got the herbalism courses. So in March, my herbalism, PTSD and traumatic stress course is open for enrollment again. So I've launched this several times now. It's open twice a year, March and September. And it's like my biggest body of work, and no one is turned away for lack of funds. So you're able to access it for free if needed, or a small donation. Otherwise, if you pay, basically this course is what funds every fucking thing I do, pretty much. Like 95% of my income comes from this course. And it's a completely self-paced, so there's no online calls or anything. You can work through the content completely on your own time, and it's super comprehensive, like 8 modules all about how trauma affects the body, collective responses to traumatic stress, how we frame trauma, the politics of trauma, and then it's just like bash, 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 all about the herbalism. So bunch of practical stuff about medicine making, about where to start, building relationships with plants, and then there's like 32 plant profiles of different types of nervines, so herbs that have an affinity with the nervous system. And I've just had fucking hundreds of people around the world tell me how life-changing it has been for them. And I'm not like, I am quite good at promotion, I think, compared to lots of people, but like, it's still hard to like say, hey, this thing is like fucking awesome, you need to do it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm getting to the place now where I'm like, actually, like I've had enough people contact me telling me like how much it's made a difference in their life, or it's like led them to all sorts of things like learning herbalism or getting involved in different stuff. And yeah, I do think like if people really get stuck into it, then like it can be fucking life-changing for them. So yeah, so please join the waiting list for that. The link is on the info page. That's the best way to hear about it. So my practical medicine making intensives, these are 3-day courses and I teach 2 of them a year. And they are so much fucking fun. So basically we come together for 3 days in Somerset. You learn all the things, tinctures, glycerites, infused oils, ointments. You get to taste loads of samples. You get to meet loads of plants that are growing everywhere. We make loads of medicine for Calais, for the mobile herbal clinic, the refugee clinic in Calais. And yeah, it's just tons of fun. And yeah, I should say the end of this month is the deadline to apply for a subsidized place. So 1/3 of the places on each course have been set aside for free or for donation, and then everyone else pays, and that just like enables the whole thing. You know, like I have to pay for like childcare help, and I pay for an assistant now, because I used to just bash it all out myself, but it's just not possible with a baby. So yeah, it's like, but I still run these courses even though they don't make much money, because they're so fucking fantastic at getting people those amazing skills. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so, or I haven't checked my online shop, but there's definitely no places left in June, and I think maybe there's like 3 places left in April. I'm tempted to try and organize another one, but I might be pushing it. I'm not sure. Okay, so the other big thing you heard me talk about in my plans episode is I'm launching this Frontline Herbalism membership. So this is going to come in the summer. I'm not like committing to a date yet because it is so much work and I'm working on this every single day, like without fail. But basically there's going to be different pathways where you can work through content to help kind of skill yourself up. But there'll also be like a forum, regular calls, guest teachers once a month, and yeah, just practical support for people organizing like herbal mutual aid things. So yeah, there's going to be like a focus on like herbal street medicine, like the stuff we do in Calais, people uprisings and demos and things, disaster and crisis response, and then like community herbalism as like a real anchor for the whole membership. And yeah, it's going to be fucking rad. Like I've been working on it for so long and I'm just so excited about launching it. And yeah, I'm just excited to create that space for folks, because like, you know, I get so many emails from people like seeking this kind of informal support, but I'm hoping to have this like structure and then to have people, you know, making a contribution every month. Like that will really stabilize things financially and yeah, hopefully be quite sort of life-changing. So that's in the flow. Okay, and then there's other online workshops which are like available to access now. So I have my paid course, which is making herbal medicine with glycerin. You've probably heard me talk a lot about glycerin. It's like a fantastic alternative to alcohol-based medicines like tinctures. And yeah, the course goes into like, what the fuck is glycerin? You know, a bit about its chemistry, the supply chains, like things to be wary of, which herbs like fucking love glycerin and which don't. How to make amazing glycerites like super quickly with slow cookers, and which herbs are fantastic in glycerin fresh. I don't think there's anything else like it on the internet. I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. It's how I make so much medicine for people all over the world, like fairly affordably and in mass quantities. So yeah, check that out. If you need an access code, you can email support@solidarityApothecary.org and my amazing assistant Chantal will send you the code for that page. There's also other workshops which are like available on my website anytime, day or night, which are just like historic things I've done. So there's a workshop about herbalism and state violence from like back in like 2020, I think. State repression, trauma and the body. So this is all about how state repression like affects our health and our nervous systems. Herbalism, incarceration and abolition. So I talk a lot about like the trauma of prison and imprisonment and yeah, the work I've been doing and stuff around the prisoners' herbals and things. And then yeah, herbalism and border violence. So that's like more focusing on the work in Calais and also like Poland, Ukraine border. Yeah, Okay, so podcasts, you're already listening to this one, Frontline Herbalism podcast. I've also got another private podcast which offers a full audio version of the Overcoming Burnout book, which you can get on my website. So you can listen to all 23 chapters of that book. They're like, it's very short, like my little, they're kind of like blog posts really, but I've also added in like journal prompts, and it's kind of like an interesting hot take from like back in like 2016. I think I was like blogging when I was really sick, so please check that out. Books. So The Prisoner's Herbal is still available free to people in prison worldwide. We've got like thousands of them in the so-called US now. We've got 1,000 more copies in the UK thanks to active distribution. You can use the request form online and our amazing volunteers will pop one in the post. So that's really exciting. There's still some translations like in progress, but you can also get the ebook on my website. And there's a link on my page to where you can get physical copies of books as well. So The Prisoner's Herbal is available in Spanish, Italian and Romanian so far online. There's also the Overcoming Burnout book that I've mentioned. There's the Medicinal Herb Colouring book, which is like fucking beautiful with like 50 incredible illustrations drawn by my friend Imani with like little blurbs about their medicinal qualities. And then there's my tomb of a book, Herbalism and State Violence, which just talks about all of this work, like different forms of state violence, different forms of herbal solidarity. There's contributions from people all over the world. And again, these book sales like are a real like funding engine for the Solidarity Apothecary. So like all the money is like going back into like Soli stuff. Do you know what I mean? And then there's some other free resources like my Herbal Path Planner, which I talked about last week. There's an elderberry syrup recipe using glycerin. And then I've got a guide for herbal support for panic attacks that you can check out. And then finally, if you're like, wow, this is fucking overwhelming, I intermittently send an email out like promoting different offerings and different announcements and, solidarity calls, merchandise, things like that. Please join the newsletter, because it is like the place where everything goes first before I like attempt to put things on social media and stuff. So all right, I better fucking leave this car park and go and get a posh coffee. Thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting the Solidarity Apothecary. All of the donations and stuff that come through, people that, support, like whether it's like £3 a month or £10 a month, like it all just makes some fucking massive difference. And now, that this Black Flag clinic is going, it's like so fucking nice to know that in-depth support is available for people too with their chronic illness, comrades who've been organising for decades who are really struggling. Being able to like post out herbal care packages, like I'm getting a bunch of stuff out for the Earth First gathering in Wales this week. I think it's next weekend, but anyway, I'm just fucking grateful for all the support, and all of this work has, taken years and years and years to create over time. And I'm just like living my fucking anarchist herbalist dream life. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm in a silly mood. I think I need more caffeine. Actually, maybe I don't need more caffeine. Anyway, thank you for listening. I will be back soon. Okay, take care. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to the Frontline Herbalism podcast. You can find the transcript, the links, all the resources from the show at solidarityapothecary.org/podcast.